Welcome to Digital Asset News, where we take the top stories in cryptocurrency and break them down to bite-sized pieces. Today we've got three great stories. First of all, the CEO of Bakkt, Kelly Loeffler, is going to be set as the new U.S. Senator for Georgia. Amazing. Also, December 15th is the final day for the China-USA tariffs to go into effect, and XRP set to end 2019 as the worst performing major crypto of the year. Unbelievable. So let's get going. First off, Bakkt CEO Kelly Loeffler is a new U.S. Senator as appointed by Georgia Governor. This is an amazing story to see that somebody who has been with Bakkt from its initial inception to the thought process all the way to now to where they started off with Bitcoin-backed contracts and they went to cash-based Bitcoin contracts. Now they're looking to do an app that is Bitcoin-based to do transactions. And she's been a part of all of that. She's been the CEO, she's been the ringleader. And now she's going from that position to U.S. Senator in Georgia. And what's interesting about this story is about how the governor handpicked her to become the senator after the original senator became sick. And not only did he pick her, but he went against the President Donald Trump's wishes to handpick her out, and she is also the first choice for the Republican Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell. Amazing. We have somebody in the Senate as of January 1st, 2020, who knows exactly what Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is, what it can do, and she's going to go there and she's going to be talking about different strategies and different things that she has to do for Georgia, but also the big thing is how she's going to relay the information as to what cryptocurrency is, what it is going to be, and how it is going to affect the future so that these people understand. Anyhow, let's get to the story itself. So Georgia Governor Brian Kemp officially appointed Bakkt CEO Kelly Loeffler to the U.S. Senate on Wednesday, where she will fill current Senator Johnny Isakson's seat. I believe Mr. Isakson became sick, and that's why he stepped down. But Loeffler will take office on January 1st, 2020. Though Isakson's term ends in January 2023, Loeffler will have to run for re-election next year if she intends to serve past January 2021. Look, even if she can be in there for a year, just to educate the people who are in Congress, who are in Senate, who have no idea what cryptocurrency, what the digital asset market is going to be, is an amazing opportunity, I think. Furthermore, it states Kemp appointed Loeffler, a Republican, against the reported wishes of President Donald Trump, who apparently expressed a preference for Representative Doug Collins, also Republican. However, Loeffler has the backing of Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, according to Politico. So this is amazing. Not only does she run in those circles where she knows the governor himself, but also the Republican Majority Party Leader Mitch McConnell for Senate. So if she knows this many people already, think about what she can do when she gets to Senate. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And apparently Ms. Loeffler knows a lot of people. So let's see what happens. Moving down, she says Loeffler has been the chief executive of Bakkt, the Intercontinental Exchange Bitcoin-focused subsidiary, since the entity's announcement in August 2018. Under a tenure, the company rolled out its physically settled Bitcoin futures contracts earlier this year. And Bakkt has more recently announced its intention to develop a consumer-facing mobile app for Bitcoin payments, expanded custody services, as well as options and cash-settled futures contracts, that kind of sucks, to be rolled out in the coming weeks. So I cannot stress this enough, how big of a deal this can be for someone like that to be into talking to the people in power and explaining to them exactly that they need to listen up, they need to get on board, and they need to start to pass regulations so this industry can move forward. All right, next up, keeping on the theme of politics in this video, there's a deadline for the U.S.-China tariffs, which are set to go in effect December 15th. So if you're not in the States and you haven't heard about this, President Donald Trump really wants to crack down on China and their illegal use of copyrighted material and all the different things that they essentially steal from intellectual property and sell over in China. He also thinks that things are unfair that they do and they have an unfair advantage. So he's stepping in and putting tariffs on there to put pressure on so that they will come to the table. However, it doesn't look like that's happening. Article states the U.S. is still set to impose December 15th tariffs on Chinese goods as the two countries try to come to an agreement for a Phase 1 trade deal. 15% tariffs on about $160 billion worth of Chinese exports to the U.S. are scheduled to go into effect. And Chinese negotiators have called for the U.S. to roll back tariffs as part of a Phase 1 agreement, something President Trump has said he won't do. The U.S. has placed tariffs on more than $350 billion of Chinese goods. So why is this important? Well, obviously, if this goes into effect, what is going to happen is it is going to nosedive the stock market. And that is good for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in general, because as the stock market starts to go down, the investors, people who are putting their faith into the U.S. government, the U.S. economy, says, wow, I need to hedge my bet. And what is a better place to do that but to stick their money into Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, all the good stuff. Bitcoin, digital assets, and cryptocurrency. So I think what's going to happen here is that Trump is going to play hardball and he's going to let it pass. He's going to let it go outside of December 15th, and he's just going to let it slide because he's got a full year as president. So if he lets this go and President Xi Jinping looks at this and tells himself, well, he's not going to budge and I'm not going to budge, at some point someone's going to have to give. Now, they both have time. So if President Trump does this, look to December 15th for the stock market to go down. Look for the price of Bitcoin to go up. And cryptocurrency, again, this is not financial advice. I'm not telling you to go and pay for Bitcoin or buy into any cryptocurrency. But take a look at the market and see what happens. This is my feeling. This is what I think will happen. Moving on to this article, it does state that statements from Jack Ablin, Chief Investment Officer at Crescent Wealth. Great. And he talks about, I think investors are using December 15th as a barometer. It's probably the purest, simplest barometer to see if progress is being made. If it isn't, we'll probably limp in the rest of the year, one the strategist says of the market. Moving forward, December 15th is the date when tariffs on another 156 billion Chinese goods would go into effect, and economists have viewed these tariffs as potentially the most damaging since they directly target consumer goods. Now, if this is start to felt in the pocketbook of the average investor, you can believe they're going to start to pull their money out, and they have options. They can lay on it. They can say, no, I'm going to keep this, or they can invest in something that is a hedge against the typical stock market, and this could be one of those days. Lastly, it states some traders viewed Trump's comments as a bargaining ploy. Article before this, it talked about how Trump said that he could let this go until November of 2020 and he really doesn't care. And that is just a bargaining chip or a way to show strength when maybe you don't have as much strength as you'd like to have the other person see you as, I suppose. So if he says that, maybe the president of China, Xi Jinping, looks at that and says, well, if he's going to do that, I'm not going to budge, we're not going to budge. But it could be a ploy, who knows. Well, it does state here, however, the president's actions over the past few days have sent a harsh reminder that he intends to play hardball and trade, not just with China, but with other trading partners, after his threats of new tariffs on Brazil, Argentina, and France. This is fantastic news. As he starts to get into the mud, as he starts to fight with all these different countries, what's going to happen in the stock market? Stock market goes down, cryptocurrency market potentially will go up. We will see what happens. And speaking of things sliding down, our last article talks about XRP, one of my favorite cryptocurrencies, is set to end 2019 as the worst performing major crypto of the year. Now, the end of the year isn't over. We've still got about 3 weeks to go, but chances are not looking too good. Here's what the article states. XRP has lost almost 93% of its value since its all-time high. Now, its all-time high was around 340, 350. But it's set to close out this year as the worst performing coin among the top 10 by market cap. The only one that's close behind it is Bitcoin Cash, which has lost around 49% of its value. Well, at least something awful is going down. And then it states here, Ripple's XRP has shown some stability, and we've seen that stability around 30 cents, 22, 23 cents, somewhere around there, and that's where it's been stable. So I think that we're going to look back at these days and say to ourselves, wow, remember when XRP was this? Remember when Ethereum was this? Remember when Bitcoin was this? Now remember, XRP is the only one that is talking to regulators, talking to the World Bank and IMF and getting things done behind the scenes. When you put that much time and effort, and there are deals being made, there are NDAs or non-disclosure agreements being signed, there are things that are happening on the horizon that you and I and the average person are not privy to. So we have to take a look at what is being done behind the scenes, not what is being said, but what is being done. We can see what's on the surface, and that is, of course, XRP is slumping. And we're behind the scenes. We get little pieces, little bits and pieces of information of how things are going and how well it could go. And I believe in the future, especially past May 2020 and a year after, we'll see some impressive price actions. Again, not financial advice. I am not an expert or a financial planner. This is for entertainment purposes only. Now, I want to thank you again for going through my rants and listening to the news. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Greatly appreciated. Helps with the algorithm. It helps to push these videos out to other people who may have a negative sentiment on the cryptocurrency and digital asset market. And if you like more stories like this, consider hitting that subscribe button, and I will see you on the next video.